All right, I call this meeting to order, this public hearing. It is 5:32. Item number 2, establishment of quorum. We have Mr. Patrick Kennedy, Dr. Jaime Rodriguez, Mr. Erasmo Lopez, and Coach Armando Cuellar and myself. Item 3, public hearing on the financial integrity rating system of Texas First Indicators. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, the School First is designed to encourage Texas public schools to manage their financial resources better in order to provide the maximum allocation possible for direct instructional purposes. I'd like to announce that Weslaco ISD has received a superior achievement rating for the past 17 years since the inception of the program. That's from 2001-2002 school year through the 2017-2018 school year. Weslaco ISD obtained a superior achievement rating with a perfect score of 100 points out of the maximum 100 points for both fiscal years 2016-2017 and 2017-2018. This is one of the 2 report cards the district receives in finance. The other report card is the annual financial audit report. Mr. Sanchez is here, and he will take us through the 15 indicators that are part of FIRST.
Yes, Dr. Canales, Mr. Nieto, members of the board. This is the financial indicators public hearing that has been duly advertised as required. We advertise it in the monitor. And there are 15 indicators. I'm going to read the indicators. I'm going to give you the explanation of what it is, and I'm going to tell you whether we met the indicator, which we did. And sorry, this is my insulin pump dripping. That's extra. Okay, the first indicator asks if the complete annual financial audit report and the data was submitted to the TEA within 30 days of the November 27 or January 28 deadline, depending on the school district's fiscal year. And the answer is yes. We submitted it on December 24, 2018. And the year before, we also submitted it in time. So we met both indicators both years. Indicator 2A, whether an unmodified opinion in the audit financial report on the financial statements as a whole. And the answer is yes. We got an unmodified opinion for the 2017-2018 audit, which is a clean audit. And the year we also met the indicator. 2B, did the external independent auditor report that the annual financial report was free of any instances of material weaknesses in internal controls over financial reporting and compliance for local, state, or federal funds? And there was no material non-compliance issue disclosed in either year. Indicator 3, was the school district in compliance with the payment terms of all debt agreements at fiscal year end? Yes, we had met the payments on all the leases that we have, and loans, bonds. We paid everything in time. And that happened for both years. So in the audit, there were no disclosures in the annual financial report and or all the sources of information concerning default on debt agreements. On indicator 4, did the school district make timely payments to the Teacher Retirement System, TRS, Texas Workforce Commission, Internal Revenue Service, or other governmental agencies? And the answer is yes. The district made timely payments to the TRS, CWC, IRS, and other governmental agencies on both years. Indicator 5 at the top of the next page. This one was not scored for the 2017-2018 year, but we did meet it for the year before.
What was it, Andres? Do you remember?
I
Offhand?
talked about on the certain bonds.
Okay.
I think that the capital appreciation bonds, the district had any, so we didn't have any bonds like that anyway.
Okay.
But very few districts had it. I think that's why they did away with it.
Okay.
On indicator 6, was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures, excluding facility acquisition and construction? We needed to have at least 90 days to meet the requirement. So at the end of the year, we had 95.44 days of cash. So we did meet the indicator. You'll remember this is the one where at the beginning we only had 84.
Right.
So we got a 98.
Correct.
So we appealed it to TA, explaining that the reason we didn't have enough cash at the end because we had to buy a lot of buses. We spent almost $6 million that we paid by August 31 for trucks and buses. And a flood, it was a type of hardship approved as a reason not to, why the indicator wasn't met. So they allowed it and we were able to get the 100 points. On indicator 7, was the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt? And we needed to have at least 3 times more assets than liabilities, and our measure is 4.48. So we had almost 4.5 times more than we needed.
Okay.
Than liabilities, I'm sorry. So we met the indicator on both years. Indicator 8 was the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency. And the ratio for this has to be less than or equal to 0.6. Our ratio was 0.3394, so it was lower, so we met the indicator. And we did it for both years. Indicator 9, did the school district general fund revenues equal or exceed expenditures excluding facilities acquisition and construction? And the general fund revenues exceeded the expenditures for that year for almost $5 million. It was $4,983,214. So we met the indicator for that year and the year before. Indicator 10 was the debt service coverage ratio sufficient to meet the required debt service. The ratio needs to be 1.20 or bigger. Our ratio was 1.8, so it was half more than we needed to have ready.
For this past year, right?
For the 17-18. The 18-19 is not available yet, the year
Okay.
before.
Okay,
Because this is all based on audited data,
okay,
and the audits are barely getting completed now for that last year.
all right.
Indicator 11 was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold ratio. The ratio needed to obtain the 10 points is less than or equal to 8.55%. Our ratio for the 2017-18 year was 7.47%. So this goes through calculations that has to be done, but TA checked it and we passed
Okay.
for both years. Indicator 12, did the school district not have a 15% decline in the students to staff ratio over 3 years, total enrollment to total staff? And the decline for Weslaco ISD, staff to students to staff ratio over 3 years was only 6.93. So we were able to pass the indicator because it was less than the 15. Indicator 13, did the comparison of public education information management system, which is PIMS, data to the same information in the district audit report, result in a variance of less than 3% of all expenditures by function? Meaning the differences, because some districts have differences, they're not the same thing in PIMS versus the books. So they allow you 3% of differences. We had 0.0001%, so very little. Only 170 items that were not matching out of 170 some million. So that was very good. Good PIMS department and accounting department. Indicator 14, did the external independent auditor indicate the audit financial report was free of any instances of material noncompliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds? In the audit report, there were no instances of material noncompliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds. So we met the indicator, and we did the year before as well. Indicator 15, did the school district not receive an adjusted repayment schedule for more than one fiscal year for an overallocation of foundation school program funds as a result of a financial hardship? We did not get such a schedule because we don't owe any money to TA. So the next page talks about the superintendent's contract, and it is published in the school district's website. It is located at the bottom of the financial transparency section.
Okay.
The next page shows, we're supposed to show to the public, the community, and to TA, a report on travel expenditures of the superintendent and board trustees for the fiscal year 2017-2018. And Dr. Canales and the board members that were in office at the time are listed. And the breakdown includes meals and mileage, lodging, transportation, or other items like airfare, things like that, conference registration, and conference registration. And the totals are listed there for superintendent and all board members. The total amount for all of them, for all of you, was $51,109 for the 2017-2018 fiscal year. Any questions on that report?
Is there a percentage that we shouldn't go above, or, Dr. Canales?
No.
No. It's just, we follow just the policy of how many local conferences we can attend, how many state, and how many
Yeah, and all
out of
these,
state.
all boards are different. So
Okay.
Everybody
So,
follow-
but they don't have a certain percent.
not required by the state.
Okay. Okay.
The next slide asks if there's any outside compensation received by the superintendent. So Dr. Canales does not do any work for compensation outside Weslaco ISD. Next item relates to the conflict of interest questionnaires, like the ones that I sent you all to fill out.
Right.
This one asks if the board member or the families receive any gifts in excess of $100, either by the superintendent or the board members or the families or first-degree relatives in the fiscal year 2017-2018. So everybody indicated that no, nobody received any gifts like that.
Okay.
Next item asks about business transactions between Weslaco ISD and board members for the fiscal year 2017-2018. The only one that did have something to disclose was Mr. Caballero, who was in office at the time.
Correct.
Mr. Caballero worked for the Dean Foods Company, and food service department buys from them to the Region 1. They are an approved vendor with the Region 1, South Texas Purchasing Cooperative, and we buy milk and dairy products and orange juice. So we've been buying from them for a long time.
Okay.
Any questions?
Comments, Mr.
Comments?
Kennedy?
No comments from me. Good job, and all to you and your staff, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Thank
Dr. Jaime?
Good job, sir. No comments.
Mr. Lopez?
Very good job again, Andres. Congratulations.
And Coach Cuellar?
No, everything looks pretty much in order, so great job.
Well, especially when you get 10 out of 10 points, on every category, how can you improve, But, no, awesome job.
Dr. Canales wanted me to find 11 out of 10.
Yeah, we still have conversations. We believe
Yeah.
in continuous improvement.
But originally it was 98 out of 100, right? But you
Yes.
appealed that,
The
that
cash that we were
segment.
short 6 points.
Okay.
As part of the public hearing, invite the members of the public.
Yeah.
who wish to
Public
next
comments
item on
on
the
the
As
budget?
part of public hearing. Public hearing, the public has the right to come comment. So if there's anybody that wants to comment
Right.
as part of public hearing, they can.
Anybody that would like to have any comments on our public hearing? Carlos? Paul?
That's the next agenda item.
All right. Anything else?
Close the
Dr.
public
Canales?
hearing.
That's it. Just congratulations to Mr. Sanchez and the team. They work really, really hard to make sure. And like we told the parents at the meetings, that he's the one that has to tell us no if the I's aren't dotted and the T's aren't crossed for all kinds of programs and funding sources. So just thank you.
Which is
Mr.
good, because
Sanchez,
sometimes you
communicate.
have to say no, depending on the budget. Very important, especially in the next few years. It's going to be difficult. So that's where you have to come into play with Dr. Canales to make sure we have the budget available for many things coming up. And especially with House Bill 3 and the 3 areas that we have to cover, correct?
Yes.
All right. Adjournment?
So move.
It is 5:45, and we adjourn this public hearing.